What's going on, Phantom Force? This is Phantom Base coming at you with our week 6, I think? Yeah. No? Yeah, week 6. Team prep for the APA Wi-Fi division against Jock, coach of the Dunfermlinoones. We are the coach of the New York Cosmogs, as you guys are fully aware by now, I'm sure. His team is incredibly horrifying. Also, his link will be in the description below, as I say every time we have a match. But yeah, let's just hop right into this because I'm very intrigued to build a team, to show you guys how to build this team. I am going to scoot my chair up conspicuously as possible. Yeah, his team is incredibly threatening and incredibly fast. Mega Alakazam, Volcarona, Zygarde 10%, Thunderous Therian, Combalian, Amoonguss, Mandibuzz, Jellicent, Meloetta, Kamala, and Alolan Persian. So right away, we're going to go ahead and show his team, which will show up right about now. And right away, the first thing I noticed when I was looking at his team to start prepping was he's got like 4 or 5 Pokemon over base 100. He's got Mega Alakazam at base 150 speed, Zygarde 10% at base 115, Thunderous Therian 101, Cobalion 109 or 108, I can't remember. I think it's 108, I want to say. No, I'm pretty sure it's 109. Alolan Persian at 115. His team is fast, but then his fat threats, or like his fat mons, Mandibuzz, Meloetta, Jellicent, Amoonguss. Kamala can be somewhat fat, but I don't foresee him bringing it this week because I have threats like Mienshao, which are incredibly horrifying for his team. And overall, I considered it, but we're going to go ahead and hop right into this, and I'm going to explain my thought process as we go. So, one of the first things I noticed is, 1, Stealth Rocks are a must. His hazard removal consists of Komala and Mandibuzz. And that's all. That's all his team consists of as far as hazard removal. He cannot bounce hazards back with anything. I think the only thing that gets it on his team, I don't even think anything gets on his team. Nothing gets magic. Well, Meloetta does, I think. But the other threat. Oh, another fast threat on his team is a Pirouette form Meloetta, which is base 128, which is ridiculous. So anyway, yes, Futurama is playing in the background. Please don't copyright stab me, YouTube. Anyway, we're going to attempt to ignore that and continue on with our prep. Right away, as far as threats are concerned, the biggest ones that I see from my team are Mega Alakazam, obviously. Huge threat. Base 150 speed is ridiculous. Base 175 special attack is insane. Another threat is Volcarona. Huge problem for my team, so right away I know I've got to get rocks up. I got to have a switch in for Mega Alakazam. And I've got to have, I gotta have a decent switch in for Volcarona too. Because if I don't have a decent switch in for Volcarona, we're gonna have a bad time. So right away, I also noticed that one other threat, offensively, that's gonna be annoying for me is a Cobalion. Offensively, now defensively, I see more issues with Alolan Persian and Mandibuzz. But I mean, because we have our ways to check Amoonguss, we can deal with Meloetta, we can deal with Jellicent pretty well, and Kamala's not an issue for us. Zygarde can be a threat. I say can be very loosely because of the fact that, yes, it is incredibly fast. Yes, base 100 attack isn't terrible. Victini shares the same base attack, but its defenses are terrible. Base 54 HP, base 74, I want to say, special defense or something like that. It leaves a lot to be desired. No, it's base 71 defense and like 65 SPDF. It's really frail, which leaves a lot of my Pokemon with priority very able to take care of it, which is exactly what I'm going for. In this particular match, the concept of this team I wanted was kind of a bulkier team, and I say that only because his team doesn't handle bulk very well. Like, if it can live the hit and it can deal the damage back. Because a lot of his mons that aren't bulky, like that aren't straight bulk, are frail. Thunderous Therian doesn't deal well. Cobalion is the only decently offensive mon, and I say that very loosely. Base 90 attack is meh. Sneasel is better than base attack. But his defense is ridiculous. So, I mean, Amoonguss is meh. Mandibuzz is meh. Meloetta is great, but it's kind of one-dimensional if you're not going to run Pirouette form, and we have answers for his Pirouette form, which are very, very nice for us. Jellicent is obviously defensive mon, which means that his offenses are meh. Komala can be offensive, and it can be decently fast. It's just really slow. Alolan Persian has horrible offensive stats, like base 80, I think, in both, or something like that. And like its defenses are meh, but fur coat makes it fat on the defensive side, but it leaves him with a lot of weaknesses. Just like his only physical walls really are Cobalion and Mandibuzz and maybe Alolan Persian, but that leaves him very open to like his team, even though it's very weak, got some good defensive walls. A lot of his mons are incredibly weak to physical offense as well. Mega Alakazam, Volcarona, Zygarde, Thundurus, Meloetta outside of Pirouette form, and even then it's still weak on the defensive side. Komala, all these are incredibly weak to the physical offense, and so I decided to build my team concept from we need to get rocks up. Rocks are vital because it hinders Volcarona from doing what it does best, and that's setting up, and we cannot allow it to set up. And so the entire point of my team is to, 1, get hazards up so we can prevent Volcarona from setting up, 2, pack the priority and the power we need to push through Mega Alakazam, Zygarde, and Thundurus, and be able to, and bring the wall breakers we need to be able to push through his walls, like Amoonguss, Mandibuzz, Alolan Persian, Jellicent, and maybe Cobalion. I say that very iffy because it's not very good. It's a good wall, but like it is better for support. It's fast. Like base 108 or 109 speed. I'm gonna check that right now, just so I'm not looking like a total moron here. Base 108 speed, yeah. So it speed ties with Infernape. Anyway, so without any further ado, me rambling, we've been going on for 7.5 minutes now explaining the concept. We're gonna hop right in. And first, like I said, the first thing on this list that I needed was a mon to set up rocks, and a mon to be able to deal with Volcarona to prevent it from setting up. And of course, I considered Skarmory because, you know, Skarmory's been our staple. It's come every week so far. But this week it just does not fit. He's got Thunderous Therian, he's got Volcarona, which ironically, even though it's weak to Skarmory, Skarmory is very weak to it. And it makes it's kind of set up fodder in a way. So I really wanted something that can really deal better with Volcarona. So our only other rock setter is Rhyperior. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you now that we kind of knew its moveset, but we didn't know its spread or its item right away. So, Duke Devlin is here. We're going to have, and I'm going to tell you now, we obviously need Stealth Rocks. And, of course, packing Earthquake, not Earth Power, because its special attack is hot garbage. A Rock Blast for a potential Sash of Volcarona, which I'm fully expecting. And I'm also packing Ice Punch because I would rather be able to hit the Zygarde should it switch in. Now granted, he won't switch in on an attack, he'll get a free switch in, and he can't kill us in any one move, which is super important for us. So I did not know the spread right away because I kind of wanted a very peculiar EV spread with this to be able to live certain attacks, and I'll explain it later when we put the item on it. For right now, this is all we know about it. So next up, I was like, for the longest time, I had Tentacruel and Mienshao on this team. But I noticed very quickly that team is shut down by Mega Alakazam. Like these three alone are just shut down by Mega Alakazam. And so I decided to go more of a cheeky route, I guess. And the next Pokemon I absolutely knew I had to bring was a Escavalier. Our Exeter the Escavalier is coming for the first time this week, wearing an assault vest and rocking overcoat. Overcoat is for dealing with Amoonguss. It cannot spore us. We have a really solid switch into Amoonguss here. If he's running foul play, so be it. We can kind of mitigate that a little bit and just kind of work around it, I think. Do you get leech life? I really wish you did, because that'd be crazy if you got leech life. You don't, but that's alright, because we don't really need it. We are running Mega Horn, Knockoff, Pursuit, and Drill Run. And I knew right away what his EV stroke was going to be. We're rocking Max Attack, Adamant, Max HP, 4 Special Defense. And let me go and explain these. First off, Mega Horn hits almost everything on the team incredibly hard. It's a 2-hit kill on Thunderous Therian, just to give you an idea. Knockoff is for knocking off items, obviously, but it also deals well with dealing with things like, first off, we can knock off an Assault Vest on things, which I've seen Assault Vest Amoonguss run. I would rather not have to deal with Assault Vest Amoonguss, so that's the thing. Rocky Helmet, Mandibuzz is probably very probable, so I'd like to get rid of that before I bring in Victini, and yes, Victini's coming, you'll see it in a minute. Pursuit is for the Mega Alakazam, because we can switch in on any move that is not HP Fire. And we can proceed to, if he switches out, proceed to knock him out for Pursuit. And which is really good. If not, we do 55 to 65% without the boost from him withdrawing. If he does withdraw, he dies. If he doesn't, then either way, we can peg him with Mega Horn, and we'll have to kind of gauge whether or not he's going to go for HP Fire. We can pivot around. This thing is a pivot for us right now. And it's super helpful for us to be a pivot, because we can still live in HP Fire. I think it's like 75 to 90%, which is ridiculous from Mega Alakazam, but at the same time, we live it and we could kill it with a Mega Horn, which would be incredibly awesome. So that is our Escavalier. It, like I said, it also switches in on things like Amoonguss. It switches in on what else do you see? I'm gonna see. Let me check. It switches in on Cobalion really easily. It switches in on Meloetta pretty easily. It switches in on Komala pretty well. Obviously, the only thing it doesn't switch in on is Volcarona, but that's why we have Duke Lava over here. You guys know how we do. The last mon I needed was another. I kind of like to have a balanced team when it comes to defensive wise, so I decided I was going to pack one last defensive mon. I say defensive very, very loosely, because I don't really count Escavalier much as defensive. It's more of a pivot as well as an offensive mon, really. It's a Max Attack Adamant set, so we are bringing Floridas this week as well. Megan is making her return again, obviously rocking leftovers. And we knew right off the bat we wanted Moonblast, we wanted Toxic. That's all I knew. And I did know the spread. Ironically enough, I knew the spread. We're going to run max HP, max defense over the Calm Nature. So we can take hits from both sides from Mega Alakazam and deal a decent amount of damage back with Moonblast. Actually, I didn't even know I wanted Toxic at this point, now that I think about it. I only knew that I wanted Moonblast. I was up in the air for the longest time with this moveset, and I'm still on the fence about it right now, honestly. There's one move I'm kind of considering swapping out. And anyway, so that is Florida's. This thing switches in on very, very easily on Mandibuzz, which is incredibly important for us. And so I also wanted it to switch in on Jellicent pretty freely. I wanted it to switch in on Mega Alakazam pretty freely. It's another pivot in between Alakazam. That way we can kind of gauge what he's going to go for. We could pivot into Exeter here and do some work, like getting him to go for a Psyshock, which does like a 30% max to us with no defense investment, which is crazy because it is resisted. I mean, what do you expect? So yeah, that is our Floridas for now. We did not know the rest of the set, and that's okay. So the last thing I was like, alright, I was really wanting Tentacle because I wanted to set up Toxic Spikes and I wanted to go for Rapid Spin. But I was like, we don't need Toxic Spikes because one, it gets stopped by Cobalion and it gets stopped by Komala, which is the perfect switch into Toxic Spikes. He also has Amoonguss to absorb them, and he has Defog and Mandibuzz. So really, his hazard removal is not affected at all by Toxic Spikes. So really, it does not matter that I bring that. And at that, it's also just, once again, kind of, it baits in the Mega Alakazam with me having no way to dealing damage to it. Like, not any significant damage. So we decided to bail on Tentacruel. And I couldn't decide at the time what I wanted to replace that with. But I do know that I think I wanted Hazard Removal, but I couldn't quite decide. So we decided to kind of stop on our defensive side for now and go back into the offensive mods. And we decided we were going to bring Mega Glalie back. Yes, finally, Lockjaw is returning. Because, heck yes. I knew right away that this is the move song I wanted to return. I wanted Crunch on Earthquake, and I wanted Ice Shard. We're packing max attack. I think it was 212 speed? Yeah. 212 speed, Jolly, rest into HP. And this allows us to outspeed. What is it? What does it allow us to outspeed? It's base 17. What am I thinking with this? I'm pretty sure that I'm speed tying with something rather than outspeeding. Let me look. I'm not sure what I'm thinking here. Nope. I don't know. What am I speed tying? I'm speed tying with base 95s. He has nothing 95. Hello? Oh, no, that's what it was. I believe we speed tie with an Adamant Cobalion. Or we outspeed an Adamant Cobalion. Let's check. Let's take a double check real fast. Max speed. Yep, we outspeed non-speed boosting nature on Cobalion. And we can 2-hit kill with Earthquake. Granted, we're not staying on that thing, for sure. We have a switch in. We have a couple switch ins actually, which are super duper helpful. Especially if he's gonna run a physical one. We have switch ins for that for sure. And there's not much you can really do to our switch ins as well, which is super helpful. I don't really see him bringing Cobalion, but if he does, then it's definitely going to be a Leaf Rock set, and I would really like to be able to deal with that. So, we're running Return for huge damage, obviously. Ice Shard actually one-shots Zygarde, and while and Extreme Speed, even from Bandit's Head, does max like 40% to our Mega Glalie, which is super awesome. Because, I mean, Extreme Speed is strong, but, like, at the same time, it's not that strong, and it's not stab. Ice Shard does Oko, that thing. It return 2-hit kills Mandibuzz, return his roll 1-hit kill Amoonguss. Crunch 2-hit kills both Mega Alakazam and Jellicent, I believe. What else? Return 2-hit kill, return Oko's Thunderous. We're not staying in a Volcarona. We're not going to stay in on Cobalion. Komala dies in 2 hits to return. Alolan Persian dies in 2 hits to return. Meloetta dies in 2 hits to crunch and or return. But yeah, so this thing is very simple spread, simple setup altogether. So yeah, that's the. So this spread also allows us to outspeed max speed Meloetta if he's not pirouette form. Also allows us to outspeed Modest Thunderous. Allows us to outspeed Modest Volcarona. It allows us to outspeed any other thing on here that is max speed outside of his base 115s and higher. So yeah, that's a good thing for us. Now, next up, obviously, we had to bring Victini this week, and I kind of tossed up a little bit for what I wanted this thing to be, but I knew ultimately I needed it to be Choice Scarf. So we're running V-Create, we're running Bolt Strike, we're running U-Turn, and we're running Will-O-Wisp. And you're probably going to go, wait, why are you running that? And I'm like, I'm glad you asked. Let me explain. We're not running Bashful. We're definitely running an Adamant Nature, with the rest going in HP. And here's our reasoning. We outspeed. What do we outspeed? Oh lord, what do we outspeed? Oh no, this allows us to outspeed Mega Alakazam before the V-Create, obviously. And also allows us to outspeed max speed Mandibuzz after a drop of V-Create, so we could hit it twice with V-Create. Which is crazy. And I don't think Mandibuzz actually gets Sucker Punch. Let me check that. I'm pretty sure. Do you get Sucker Punch? No, you don't. I didn't think so. It's Honchkrow that gets it. But yeah, we're running V-Create to nuke everything. One shot to make Alakazam. Hit one shot. It actually is a roll to one shot Zygarde. No, wait, no, it's not. Sorry. That's if I'm banded. Scarlet Victini does like max 85% to Zygarde, which is crazy. So that's not a switch in. V-Create one shots Volcarona. Fun fact of the day. V-Create one shots Volcarona. It one shots Thundurus. It one shots Cobalion. It one shots Amoonguss. It two shots Mandibuzz. It has a roll to one. I think it one shots Meloetta. It does nothing to Jellicent, but Bolt Strike is a 2-hit kill on Jellicent. V-Create is a roll to one shot Kamala, and V-Create is two shots Alolan Persian, but we don't plan on staying in Alolan Persian. We will U-turn on that thing every day, or we will Will-O-Wisp it, which would be fun. And like Will-O-Wisp is there to catch things like Zygarde and Cobalion and Mandibuzz and Kamala, and well, you can't hit Kamala, so Persian would be the other victim of Will-O-Wisp, which would be incredibly important for us. And because I didn't need any other coverage, so I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and pack Will-O-Wisp here, because it could be clutch to bring. It could be really clutch for us to bring. Now, it was at this point I was like, alright, I need to go back, find out my last defensive mod. And I tossed up for the longest time, do I want Tyndaquil? Because Tyndaquil would do well to go up against Cobalion. Or do I want another Pokemon? And I ultimately decided to go up with another Pokemon. And I know this sounds cheeky, but we don't really need other ways to deal with Cobalion. Because Cobalion is going to die to a combination of Exeter and 5th of November over there. So we decided to go with Decidueye this week. We are rocking Archimedes is coming back to us. He's rocking Leftovers with, and this is going to be a very fun set, I think. We're rocking Shadow Ball. We are rocking Hidden Power Ice. We're going to Fog and Roost. And right away, my friend Goodwin D-Pack Gamer gave me a spread that lives a lot of particular hits, and this is where I decided to this allows me this particular spread allows me to very high chance to one shot Zygarde 10% with Hidden Power Ice. It allows me to guaranteed two shot Mega Alakazam. It also allows me to hit everything else on the team incredibly hard. We can roost off damage, we can defog away hazards, it's gonna be a good time. We're not weak to hazards, which is great. We can always set up our rocks later with Duke Devlin over there. This particular spread also, if I recall correctly, it allows me to two-shot Mega Alakazam while taking I think it's between 57 and 68% from a Shadow Ball from Modest Megazam. Granted, Volcarona will kill us with a Fiery Dance at +1, which is horrifying. This also allows us to take max 40% from a banded 1,000 arrows from Zygarde. So we have a very, very safe switch into Zygarde 10% here. and we can easily kill it off with a Hidden Power Ice. If he switches in Thunderous, we will hit it with Hidden Power Ice, and it will not appreciate it. And we have our switch into Thunderous in being Megan the Florges over there, because if we need to, we can double into Exeter to kind of scout for the Sludge Wave. We can also double into Duke Devlin scouting for the Sludge Wave. I doubt he'll do a whole lot of damage to us, but at this point I was like, alright, I've got to finish out one last spread here, because I need to have finish the spread on this thing so that we can, and what I wanted out of this thing is I wanted to be able to live a +1 Giga Drain and retaliate. So essentially what I would want to do is switch in on Volcarona setting up a Quiver Dance. Watch him go for Giga Drain, us live the Giga Drain and kill it with Rock Blast. So with that, we needed the Rindo Berry. We also needed this particular spread. We're going 196 in HP, 212 in Spadef, and the rest in attack. We are going with a careful nature as well, and that is what will allow us to accomplish this goal. One, because it will allow us to one-shot Zygarde 10% with Ice Punch. Allow us to one-shot, obviously. We didn't need any attack investment at all to live, or to one-shot Volcarona. This also allows us to have a very good chance of OHKOing Mega Alakazam with Earthquake with this particular investment. It also allows us to one-shot Cobalion, allows us to one-shot Thunderous Therium. Ice Punch will two-shot Amoonguss, and I believe it's a roll two-shot Mandibuzz. And everything else we probably won't stay in on. Most of these things we won't stay on, to be honest. But and so the plan with this team is I'm expecting him to bring Mega Alakazam, Volcarona, Zygarde, Cobalion, Amoonguss, and Mandibuzz. Which right away tells me he's got a lot of ice weaknesses. He's got a lot of ice weaknesses anyway. He may bring Jellicent. I can see him bringing that over Cobalion. But then he won't have any hazards, which should be very good for us. His only hazard setters, literally his only hazard setter, now that I'm looking at it, is Cobalion. So, one, it would be really nice to also have to fog on Archimedes in case he decides to try to set up screens with something like Jellicent or Meloetta. And the fog gets rid of the screen, which would be very, very nice. We also need to make sure, like, this particular setup, like, and after we figured this out, I was like, alright, I now know what I need Megan to accomplish here, and I think I am going to decide to actually change up one move. I originally had this particular moveset. I had Aromatherapy, I had Toxic, and I had Magic Coat. Magic Coat, in particular, is to catch two Pokemon. It's to catch Amoonguss with Spore. It's also meant to catch Mandibuzz with Taunt. Mandibuzz will outspeed us every time. If he goes for, we can bounce back the Magic Coat, or bounce back the Taunt with Magic Coat, and that way he can't taunt us again. And we can proceed to spam Moonblast, so that he can't defog, he can't do anything like that, which would be great. And we just spam Moonblast against it. If he goes into Amoonguss, we do have our switch into a Scavalier. We also have a switch into Archimedes, we have a switch into Victini. Really, it's going to be a pivoting game. A lot of it's going to be a pivoting game between these two to help us figure out what needs to come in. Scarf Victini will probably be our lead, unless he leads maybe Persian. Persian gets Pursuit. His only other Pursuit trapper is, I think Mandibuzz gets Pursuit. I don't quote me on that. Once again, I'm thinking of Honchkrow here, but Mandibuzz, you get you don't get Pursuit. Okay, so that's super nice to know. So yeah, but yeah, so this is our so I'm gonna replace Toxic actually though with Wish. And my reasoning for this is I need to be able to heal up Exeter, because he's gonna get worn down pretty quickly. I also need to be able to heal up Bikini should it get worn down. And also Glalie if we can manage it. Glalie is more of a wall breaker, not so much our win con like Victini. Decidueye is going to be key in getting rid of things like Zygarde and maybe Mega Alakazam. As is the Scavalier. A Scavalier is huge for getting rid of Mega Alakazam. Because if he doesn't pack Hidden Power Fire and we can Pursuit Trap him, it's going to be a good time for us. Because Hidden Power Fire isn't going to do jack to Decidueye, regardless of what it comes from, unless it's Mega Alakazam. Mega Alakazam will be packing Shadow Ball though, for sure. I'm thinking more for Zygarde. Zygarde is going to want to spam. Last I heard, he tried to pack in Power Fire on it for D-Pad's Fortress. So I don't want to allow that to happen against my Scavalier. We do have Decidueye, another switch in, and it will take a Hidden Power Fire much easier from Zygarde. He won't, obviously. I mean, it'd be easier to deal with that way. He's probably going to run it Banded, which means that he can't lock it. I had to bring Florges to guarantee that he... Oh, I'm so sorry, that was unprofessional. I needed to bring Florges to guarantee that he could not lock himself in Outrage. I had to scare him out of locking himself in Outrage. He could be packing Iron Tail, which we have a Scavalier to switch in, as well as Victini. And we can easily just bring in Glalie and start spamming Ice Shard at any point in this game, which will be incredibly helpful. So, it's like, man, that's essentially what I want, is to be able to get things in range for Ice Shard spam. Because if I can get, I can get rid of Cobalion, I can get rid of Volcarona, Glalie can actually just clean up, because I know Volcarona's got it. It has to 100% come. Rhyperior is such a good way to deal with it, but it can only do so much because it gets good coverage. Florges will deal pretty well with it. I think I'm debating now whether I want Wish or Magic-Coat or Toxic. It's a tough call because Toxic would be good in case he brings in his Volcarona. We can slap a Toxic on it. But I really think my plan to deal with Volcarona is to just switch into Rhyperior and click Rock Blast to live a +1 Giga Drain. And that way we can knock him out. Hopefully we land it. He would have to be max speed Timid to speed Tyler Scarf Victini if he thinks that we're gonna be max speed. So that takes a good bit of power from him. I mean, we can come in with Victini. He can't one-shot us anyway. Like, you'd have to be running him Power Ground, and even then I don't think that kills us, even at +1. So we have a good way to deal with a lot of stuff. But yeah, so I'm thinking overall this team is very, very solid. Like I said, once again, I'm not sure why I'm packing Hazard Removal, to be honest. His only Hazard setter is Cobalion. So in a way I could see it coming, but it's more of a liability, because if he leads with Cobalion, all I gotta do is just bring in lead Victini and just slap V-Create. Something's gonna drop. His only switch into it is literally Jellicent, and he would have to switch it in and just take a hit. And even then it takes like 40% from a V-Create, so it's really not a good switch in. And we always have our pivot into Florges from there. And we can just wish up and do whatever we have to do to make this game happen. He doesn't have any wish passers, which is, well, he has Komala, but I hardly count that. If he brings Komala, it's going to be a liability as well. And good lord, this video is 30-something minutes, but yeah. Overall, like I said, the Pokemon that I see him bringing are definitely Mega Alakazam and Volcarona for sure.